I'd say the two things from notice in short time, obviously, is one, we were talking about the whole time, is guys realizing like how close you are to the plate. I think a lot of you guys are probably used to guys throw me away, so I'm gonna get on the plate and force them to throw me in, and then I'm just gonna try to turn on everything. I would highly suggest, I mean, you guys are all in high school now, to start really realizing that you need to get to the pitch in. Because over here, there's a lot of guys, I mean, I was missing arm side the entire time, and I'm a little out of shape. But we're just late on inside pitches. If we're off the plate, that's down the middle. Now we're just ready to rock, right? Number two would be in the breaking ball, fastball situation. If we're just because we swing over the top of a slider or something, doesn't mean that we need to then load later on the next one and now be late on a fastball, right? We're always loading on time to be on time with a fastball. That's what we want to hit. Now when we hit a breaker, we need to recognize it and then leave the ones in the dirt and then see the little hump on the ones that are higher, and then we just take them with our wrist and flick them to the opposite gap, right? But we don't say, oh, now I'm going to sit on time with a breaking ball and then be late to the fastball, and then now we're out, you know? So that would be the two things, just out of a short time, that I noticed.
Both of those things, how many times have we talked about those things? A lot, right? He's come in for one day and he says the same shit. So just understand that that's not, like he doesn't, I have not talked to him at all about what we're doing or anything. Those observations from a higher level baseball. Okay, things that I have on the situational hitting one. First of all, I think that you guys, when we get into the situations, don't know, like when I just name out the situation, what that means you're supposed to be doing in that situation, all right? So with hit and run, obviously, you're trying to hit a ball on the ground that is not in the middle of the field. And I'll tell you right now that I'm a lot more lenient as a coach when I'm coaching my teams as to what is considered a success for a hitter in a hit and run. But I will tell you that most of your high school coaches, that's going to be the expectation. They're going to want you to force the ball to the right side on the ground. And if they're a little more advanced, they're going to be like, just keep it out the middle on the ground. Because what you're trying to do on that play is get a guy to go first to third. You know, if you wanted to just give yourself up and hit a ball weakly, then, you know, we just bunt, right? So that's that situation. I think the biggest thing I see with that is, what is the number one thing you guys try to do when you force the ball on the ground? Andrew, go ahead. We talked about it.
Chop.
Yes, you want to swing down at the baseball, right? Because you're thinking, if I swing down at it, that means it's going to go down. But the reality is, the more you swing down at the ball, the more, if you're a little bit out in front, the higher that ball is going to go, right? Because what's happening is you're creating this plane. The ball that's coming in like this, and as soon as we get a little out front, but we are normally out front because we know we're swinging, we hit that ball straight up in the air. So don't try and change your swing to execute that. Just try and change your focal point on the ball and try and hit it higher on the baseball to force the ball line driving down. All right. Second thing, runner on second, nobody out. We talked about this the other day at SLU. What is your guys' approach with runners on second and nobody out? Where are we trying to hit the baseball?
Up
To the right side. But recognize that, you know, and this goes back to being on the plate, and we can talk about adjustments later on because that's a more advanced thing, like where you're standing in the box based on the situation. But recognize that as a base runner, what are you doing on a ground ball? What are you doing as a base runner on second base? What's the general saying that you go by? Ball at you or behind you, you go, right? So think about that as a hitter. All I have to do is hit a ground ball a little bit to the shortstop's left, right? And that gets that job done. So what I don't want to see is when we go over that situation, we really guide the ball. Does that make sense? I would rather see you swing freely, you know, and try and hit a ball to the middle of the field. And obviously just we're looking for something that we can do that with, all right? And then the third one, with the infield back, a runner on third base, less than 2 outs. What are we trying to do in that situation?
Use the middle field.
If you see, like, if you guys don't know, then me naming out the situation when we do situational hitting doesn't matter, right? Yeah, we want to use the middle of the field, right? Because the infield's back. So if I hit a ground ball to shortstop, it's a run. If I hit a ground ball to second base, it's a run. If I hit a fly ball to center field, it's a run, right? The only thing in the middle of the field that doesn't get the job done is something that the pitcher gets, basically. Right, and we'll take our chances with that. All right, so runner on third base, infield back, we're just trying to hit the ball in the middle of the field. All right, and just realize how much margin for error you have with that. There's a lot of ways to get that runner in from third base with less than 2 outs. Okay, then I don't want to give too much. I would say with what he was talking about with standing on top of the dish, we've talked about this a little bit, but a few of you guys haven't come in a while. So when we get on top of home plate, we don't allow ourselves to get to work in here unless we're super flexible in our hips. So if you go watch guys that stand close to home plate, watch how sideways they get or how much side bend they get in order to get to that pitch. All right, there's a really good video of Trout from this angle where you see him taking batting practice going this way. And you see how much lean he actually gets on the ball that's in. Right? And the reality is you guys sit down a lot all day because you're at school. So you don't have as flexible hips as a professional athlete does. None of you guys are athletic as Mike Trout. Like, just to state it blankly, it's not a bad thing. It's just that you're not. So understand that he's able to do that because of that. So when you go watch Major League guys, try and figure out why they can do what they can do. All right? Don't just be like, oh, he stands on top of home plate, so I'm going to do it too. Understand why he can do that and, nobody else, the normal average person can't. All right. I think that's all I got. You got anything you want to piggyback that we talked about?
I would say just to really jump on what he's saying, when you're doing your tee work and everything, if you always work in the gaps, between the gaps, it works for every situation in baseball. If you're a good gap to gap hitter, you essentially don't have to, he can say whatever in the world he wants for what situation, and you can hit the same damn way and still get the job done. Best hitters just work these pitches right center, these pitches left center, and these ones just take right back up the middle. And you don't have to worry about anything. So if you just work on that all the time, you're never going to be a bad situational hitter. That's all I would tackle on that as far as not pushing balls to right field and all that.
Yeah. All right. Good job tonight. That's all I got for you guys. You guys get out of here. Get yourselves your homework done. Get to bed. And we will see you guys on, if you're going up to SLU, I'll see you tomorrow.